Hello. It's episode 3 of Free Consultation, man. Personally, I'm always excited because I know there's so much to learn. As usual, the name is Kweku Jimfi Iwa, and my brother, Kojo Miensa. Kojo, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, just happy to do another episode, and we got some interesting topics for today.
I know, right?
We got some really good stuff to talk about. So
I know.
Let's get to it.
Let's jump to it, man. What's up?
All right. So our first topic for today, one that has been sort of a controversy that's been brewing: should you be an entrepreneur or should you be an intrapreneur? Right? For those who don't know what an intrapreneur is, that's somebody that works within a company, maybe tries to rise within a company, or focuses on sort of their own personal profile, trying to get better and better jobs and positions, higher salaries within companies.
Okay.
And then, of course, an entrepreneur, most people know, is somebody that starts their own company. So,
okay.
I think there's no 100% right answer. I think that obviously any ecosystem, any economic system needs both entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs.
Okay.
Right? I think that there's pros and cons to choosing either path.
Okay.
I think when it comes to being an intrapreneur, I think you have a guaranteed salary, right?
Yes, definitely.
One of the things that I always find so funny is that, there's people that sort of think that, if you're a business owner, you're kind of greedy or you exploit your workers. But I always say, the workers get paid before I get paid.
I know, right? That's the honest truth.
Like we do construction, right?
Uh-huh.
We pay everybody gets paid before we say, what's left.
And if you're fortunate enough to actually have some that's left, you get to. If not, the truth is,
that's it.
I know, right? Entrepreneurs, but back to what you were saying, man.
Yeah, so that guaranteed money, that guaranteed salary can be good.
Mm-hmm.
The downside to that is somebody else gets to decide if you're going to have a salary, a job, or how much you're going to get paid. It's largely up to somebody else. So there's always that cap. That's where the risk could be, where you can get laid off. And you can't necessarily say that, you owe me this job. I can't. You're not laying me off. Like, no, you're getting laid off when the boss says you're getting laid off. So I think that's the risk. That's the downside. I think another upside to being an intrapreneur is that you get to learn a segment of the business before you try to wield the whole thing.
True.
Right? So if you're in the accounting department, you get to really learn accounting. If you're in sales, you get to really learn sales. And, you get to interface with somebody that's in another segment.
Very true.
You get to talk to the IT guy and how do you choose different software products? How do you set certain things up? You get to talk to the marketing people and, how do you guys create a marketing campaign? You can walk around within the corporate setting and, learn from people.
Very true.
So I think it's a good learning experience, especially because you don't have to put any money up.
Yes. Right. Yes.
But in terms of being an entrepreneur, you gotta put your own money up. Usually, you gotta put some money up. The risk is on you. People are depending on you. Those salaries that are getting paid, you better make sure that you can pay them, or else now the people will say you exploited them. So when that time is due for the salary, you gotta pay the salaries. But I think the positive to being an entrepreneur, there's multiple positives, but I think one is really getting to exact your own vision. Right? Whatever your vision is like you get to mold it. And also I think it's sort of similar to like when you're renting a house versus buying.
Okay.
Where I would say it's like when you're an entrepreneur, it's kind of like you own the house. Anything that you do, all the renovations that you do, any work that you do, you own the work.
Okay.
You own it long term.
Okay.
And it's an asset. You can sell it.
True.
You build the company up and you can sell it. Right?
True.
versus an intrapreneur is kind of like you're renting a house.
True.
You're sort of renting that opportunity, and after you work in that company, unless maybe they gave you equity or something like that, you know, which does exist. And I think that's another thing that you have to consider when you're an intrapreneur. Can you work somewhere where they're going to give you some equity? Because an interesting story, former Microsoft CEO, who started off as the assistant, Steve Ballmer. He's now richer than Bill Gates, even though he started as an assistant.
Wow.
You know, he got a job where he was able to be an entrepreneur and eventually earn enough shares. And now those shares, but you know, it's also because Bill Gates has given away a lot of money, but still, nonetheless, you know, the CEO of Google is an entrepreneur. The CEO of Microsoft right now is an entrepreneur. CEOs of a lot of major companies didn't start those companies. They started in those companies and worked their way up. So you know,
I mean, I remember one of the things that really got me excited about being an entrepreneur, and this was something that Kiyosaki said, that you know, entrepreneurs have the ability to move to any country and make things happen, you know. And it really hit me that hard, because it's such a way that entrepreneurs naturally make up an economy. You know, their level of creativity, the ideas that come in, the fact that they are able to do certain things that truth is hard for people to actually do. People having the time to actually follow up and pursue this, because I mean, if you sit down and you actually analyze it critically, a lot of people really do not have that time. A lot of people are not patient enough. A lot of people just feel like, you know, like, because you have, I mean, especially even in Africa, you have people very much dependent on you. You can't waste time, you know, making a lot of mistakes, coming up with ideas, whether it's going to happen, whether you're going to make money or you're not going to make money. I mean, people will see you as a joke. That's the honest truth, you know, and people are very much dependent on you. So that's why, you know, a lot of people don't understand why eventually it always looks like the white collar jobs are the best options, you know, because it's like, you know, when you go to school, as much as of late schools of today are trying as much as possible to teach about entrepreneurship, the reality on the ground is it's not easy. Like, it's not easy when, you know, I mean, I have been doing this for the past 10 to 15 years. And the reality and the mic check on the ground is it's on and off. There are times where it can look so good. There are times where it doesn't look so good. And I mean, personally, I have people, you know, especially people come at me and they be like, yo, I mean, you've been doing this for a very long time. It doesn't look like it's working out, because it's like one way or the other, you're still asking for help, which I would tell people, especially entrepreneurs out there, you need to understand that you will need help. That's the honest truth. You will need help. But it's being able to let these people understand that, especially people who are helping you, that they are not wasting their resources helping you, you know, putting their trust in you, putting their momentum. Because once they lose that level of trust towards you, trust me, they're going to bombard you. And they're really going to be on your neck. But the key thing to still keep that attitude of entrepreneurship is the fact that entrepreneurs really make up an economy. They better an economy. Their level of strength, especially characteristic wise and personality wise, really pushes them to really make a very powerful difference. The thing about intrapreneurship is, I feel an entrepreneur is getting ready to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I feel like, Kojo, it's just like, I would use you as an example. You definitely had some teams where you were managing, you were on, especially, you know, at Microsoft and all of these other great companies that you worked in, you know. And again, when you come back to Africa, it's not a lot of people that have the opportunity to work in these global organizations. So generally, a lot of people do a lot of informal businesses. So entrepreneurship is really like, it's really a thing in Africa much more, because there's not a lot of global, organizations like where you're coming from. So, once you have the opportunity to work in these global organizations and have their structures, understand their structures, their systems, the things that, has a way of scaling up a business and making a business very, very solid, it's clear that it's easy for you to transition, to be an entrepreneur and a great one at it. I mean, again, as I said, you as an example, being able to work with you, especially from what you've learned, and especially being able to work with Complete Housing and other things, I clearly see the impact of that intrapreneurship, playing a very key role here, and is really helping you greatly. So, I mean, for me, I feel like it's something where if anybody really wants to be a great and successful entrepreneur, I think it's key that they start from intrapreneurship, being able to find yourself in a very good organization. I know, the owner of Dodi International School, at some point in time worked with World Bank. Today she's really doing an amazing job. I think the owner of Clean Eats at some point in time worked with NYU. These people have had the opportunity to work in certain like very, very good organizations where exactly, So they've built a system and they've built a structure in place where it causes them to really succeed, especially in the entrepreneurial world. The entrepreneurial world is not like, in Ghana, it's not like shake. You can't. It's there has to be structures, systems, and everything in play to really help a business grow. Man, it's key.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up well. I mean, the two have to be married together. I think even to be a great entrepreneur, sometimes I think it's good to understand the perspective of your employees, where they're coming from, what they need, and what's important for them to grow. But now, talking about entrepreneurship, and I think you touched a bit about how it is on the ground in Africa. And one thing we notice is that you see a lot of solo entrepreneurship. Now, is it better to be alone or to be with a partner? I think the first thing I always look at is, if you are a solo entrepreneur, does that mean that you weren't able to convince a second person of your idea enough to have somebody else come along with you? So, a lot of the great companies, not always, but a lot of the great companies are 2-3 people started that company, right? If you can at least convince somebody to take that risk of entrepreneurship with you, it sort of gives investors confidence in you to say, okay, this guy started it and he was able to at least convince this guy and this guy at least. Versus when you come alone, it's kind of like, okay, you couldn't convince anybody else to come with you here. That's one point. I also think that there's a few points. The second one is, 2 people or 3 people are more likely to encompass a wider range of skill sets than a single individual. It is very difficult to be an entrepreneur, even with a partner, because you have to wear many hats, right? You're doing sales, marketing, accounting, business development. You're raising money. At the same time, if you have a technical business, you're working on the engineering of the product, right? You're doing HR, you're hiring people. So you're wearing all these different hats, right? At least with 2 people, at least you can split it in half.
Very true.
That helps a lot.
Very, very true.
If you have 3 people, you can split it in thirds.
Very true.
That helps a lot.
Very true.
But I think one thing people take into account too much is the equity.
Yes, because
people are like, I want 100%. I don't want anybody to be able to tell me anything. I think I see that in my experience. I've seen that a lot in Ghana. I think a lot of people are like, they don't like the feeling of having somebody else hold them accountable.
That's the thing.
I think that's the word.
I mean, right? Kujo, in Africa, especially in Ghana, it's one of the greatest issue as to why a lot of Ghanaian businesses do not scale up that much, because we are not ready to share. You know, even ideas, idea sharing alone, people are skeptical about it. You know, people are so skeptical because a lot of people haven't really come to the realization that two is always better than one. You know, we need help, but we don't trust each other. We don't support each other that much, so it's a big issue, and we actually trickle it down even to business. So, I mean, personally, one of the things that I really started learning, and I took it upon myself, is especially, and it's kind courtesy when that's why, I will come back, but it's the main reason why I encourage people to really pursue education and some level of intellectuality, because when you read and you listen, you read a lot and you listen to inspiring audios, it really has an ability to enter into your mind frame and allow you to recognize the need and the importance as to why it is key for us to collaborate. So a lot of times in Ghana, that's why you have a lot of informal businesses, a lot of small informal businesses, because people don't want to share. People want to have everything onto their own. But it's amazing that we don't think about the next generation. We don't see the need to put something down so that the next generation that would come in would also keep creation going. We don't think that far, because it's about what I want, what I need to have, how I need to survive. It's all that matters to us. So eventually, we find it really, really, really difficult to collaborate. And again, yes, partnership in Ghana has gone sour. I mean, due to the nature of how Africans generally are. It's due to the fact that, yes, we can be quite greedy, not quite, people eventually can step on your toes, because it's an educational problem. It's an educational problem where people need to understand that, look, you don't need to own about 100% equity when eventually the dividends that is coming is quite small or minimal.
Yes.
I mean, you can own 1% equity
of something huge,
and that can cover and take care of generations, man.
Yeah. Like Jeff Bezos only owns about 10% of Amazon, the company that he started. I would take 1% of Amazon over everything I own. Package everything I own, and you give me 1%. You can own as many companies you want, own as many as 100% as you want. But 100% of a grape compared to 10% of a watermelon, which one do you take?
Yo.
Right?
Which
one do you take?
Exactly.
So I think also you can't just partner with anybody. I think you touched on the trust issues. Of course, you have to be discerning. I think even as an investor, I look at who did you choose to partner with, because that reflects on you, and that it's not just about competence, but it's also about ethics. Right? If the person is competent in what they need to be competent in, ethical, and has that good also work ethic as well, if the idea is solid enough and their research into the idea or their market validation or the traction they have is good enough, typically you can raise money. I mean, I think one thing that I try to impart upon people is that capital is looking for somewhere to flow. Money doesn't grow if it's not invested. Money doesn't grow on its own. Actually, if you leave money sitting in a bank account, it loses money.
Very true.
So one thing I really try to teach a lot of people who are less familiar with this, especially here in Ghana, who people are not so much familiar with the raising of capital for their business.
Yes. Because we do it on our own. It's like it's like that's what we know,
right? But if you understand that capital needs to flow, then you understand that people with money also need entrepreneurs with great ideas, great skills, good ethics, in order to put their money into those vehicles so that their money can grow, right? I'm always looking for new investments. It's not like you invest once. As an investor, there's no investor that invests. I mean, not no, but rarely do you find an investor that invests in one thing and that's it. They're constantly looking for more, because even that investment that did well for 15 years or 10 years, everything has its lifespan, right? So maybe I sold my shares there. I need to put it somewhere else. So what people have to understand really is being able to make your company attractive enough to attract investors is really important. And one of the things that can help with that is a great team. But, I think there are situations where you might want to be solo. There are situations. But I think those situations are the exception rather than the rule. I mean, in my opinion.
Like you said something which really caught my attention initially, and you spoke about the word accountability. I mean, you and I know that we faced issues where, as much as possible, I mean, we tried collaborating with someone to actually build a hostel, but it's such a way that, due to how Ghanaians are, and they recognize that, okay, there's going to be some level of accountability. People like to move according to their own pace, And even in relation to, you meet, again, your own personal experience. People came to you. They came to you with certain business proposals, and you asked them, hey, do you have a business plan? The next minute, the amount of people that just withdrew, and didn't follow up, especially on those investment deals, should tell you that we have a big issue when it comes to being accountable, when it comes to being responsible to attract or even earn that level of partnership.
Where do you think that comes from? Is it ego?
I think it's the fact that I think it's laziness.
Do you think so?
I think it's due to the fact that we don't want to put in much work, and as a business development strategist, that's one thing I have clearly come to understand, that to build a very good business, it takes work.
Oh yeah.
You can't be lazy.
Yeah.
And it's tedious. I mean, when you really have the opportunity to talk to people they're interested in business, and you begin to tell them the procedures and the things involved, automatically a lot of people lose interest, especially pursuing this entrepreneurial world. Do you know how many people during COVID, decided to jump on this whole entrepreneurial journey? Today, most of them have gone back into the corporate world because they realize that it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. So I feel like as Africans, I don't know if we're really ready. I mean, especially I'm talking like in Ghana. I don't know if we're really ready to enter into that mindset of scalability and go deep and recognize that we need to build businesses that can last longer
and scale.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't have a business that really lasts without structure.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
I'll make an analogy. I think that when you live with other people, sometimes you tend to see that other people keep you accountable.
True.
Like, the classic bachelor pad,
True.
You live by yourself, you do what you want. But when you have partners that keep you accountable, there's certain things you can't do. You have to execute on things that you need to execute on,
because we need that motivation,
right? And I think that if you're not willing to go through any scrutiny, there's no investor that's going to invest. Well, I shouldn't say no. Most investors are not going to invest in you without doing due diligence, meaning they're going to scrutinize every aspect of your business, every aspect of your financials, even you as a person. They're going to scrutinize you.
Most importantly,
because they're going to risk their capital with you. Now, if you want to create a really, really big business that can employ a lot of people, that can change the way things are in Ghana, you're going to need to go through scrutiny. You're going to need to play by the rules. Whether or not you wanted to play by the rules, you're going to have to. Because at the end of the day, being realistic, if you don't have the capital and the person with the capital is saying, I need you to have a business plan, I need you to show me your balance sheet, your income statement, your cash flow statement, I need you to show you your capitalization table, I need to see the processes and procedures, I need to see your technical documentation. And you're like,
even the way you're just mentioning it is just even.
I don't feel like, you know.
With all of these things, bro.
But you know the funny thing, the unfortunate thing, some Ghanaians would be like, okay, if I show you all these things, you're going to give me the money? No, it doesn't mean I'm going to give you the money.
It's true. It
means I need to see it.
Because we can forge it, man.
Well, yeah, I'm going to need to do due diligence.
Exactly.
Just because you told me you made 100,000 doesn't mean I believe that you made 100,000. Okay, now I need to see the receipts that back that up.
True.
Okay, you said you have these assets. Let me see these assets. Okay, let me show you the documentation.
True.
And it's like, okay, if I do all that, does it mean I get the money? No.
Yeah.
It means that all it's saying is I'm going to give you an opportunity to potentially get this capital. But if you don't get it, at least here's the thing. You have all of it prepared. You have all of it ready.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that, made me start AfriCap was the recognition that a lot of people don't know how to do these things. They need help. Maybe they haven't asked for help. They don't have the right person around them. We don't even charge up front to help you with preparing these things. And then we help you get in front of investors. We even coach you in how you make your pitch deck, how you pitch, how to, make sure you have product market fit, proof traction. There's so many things that we help with. But, there's some people that, and, I think we should be positive because right now, a lot of companies, a lot of startups in Africa are getting capital. They're getting funded, okay? Unfortunately, a lot of them are not coming from Ghana.
That's
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Need to wake up. Nigeria. Yeah. A lot of Nigerian startups are getting funded.
It's crazy.
Lot. And a lot of the funding is coming from some of the biggest investment houses, especially in terms of startups and venture capital from the United States. One big one being Y Combinator. Y Combinator is moving in Africa. I mean, they just did a conference here. They were either in Nigeria or Nairobi. They had a conference here. Gates is investing. Zuckerberg, Facebook, he's investing.
Oh, wow.
Andela got money from Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I mean, and so the Nigerians are catching up and saying, okay, you're saying that if I show you these things and if I do these things the right way and I can show you a certain level of profitability and potential, I have a good chance to get money. They don't hesitate to get it done. Ghanaians are like, that's a long thing.
I mean, look.
Unfortunately, too many of them say that. Everybody.
Let's give a typical example, even with complete housing. Let's look at how, it took us more than a year to get the business plan ready. I mean, hey, man, after that time, I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. And I remember, you telling me, Kweku, take your time. Because it was like, yo, let's go get this. Let's get the money. That's all we think about most of the times. Yeah. But one of the things where, and again, it even comes back to the positive effect of even, diasporans coming into the country. That's a topic we'll discuss later on. But you realize that it's not about the main reason why people need to be excited about people who are coming in from the developed world, coming into a developing world, is the level of intelligence they carry. We are just looking and much more focused on the money aspect. But for me, it's the intelligence that these people carry and what we can learn. Yeah. Because that's exactly one of the things I learned from you. So it's such a way that, it took about a whole year. Not just that, but it's being able to make sure that, look, we have certain things really in play, and even the introduction of AfriCap. Okay.
All right. So wanted to present to you a company today called Precious Juices. They make all different types of juices, all different types of flavors. As you can see here, we have a carrot juice base flavor, a mango base flavor, a beet boost flavor, and pineapple juice. These flavors have a medley of different fruits and vegetables in them. And the thing I really like about Precious Juices is that the founder, Grace Ansa, is very much into herbal medicine, naturalistic living, and all sorts of health topics. And if you're having a particular health issue, she can actually advise or make a custom juice for you for your particular health issue. So I think that's really cool. And the juices taste great. This is a company that I actually helped advise from the beginning. And, it's something that I really love to be able to do, to see a company that, started from nothing and now is making regular sales and has a lot of regular customers. You can find them on Instagram at Precious Juices. You can reach out, send a DM in order to order. And anybody that wants to advertise their products or their services here on the Free Consultation Show, feel welcome to reach out to us on any of our platforms or send us an email. And, we can also feature your product. So check out Precious Juices, give it a try. I think the smallest price that you can try out is at like 12 cities, all the way up to like a gallon size for around 90 or 100 cities. So give Precious Juices a try. We don't want to just be too theoretical, hypothetical, right? We want to get into some of the specific business opportunities that we've seen here in Ghana and in other African countries as well. We can't do everything. Nobody can do everything. So one of the things we try to do here on Free Consultation is to give you free business ideas with a little bit of market analysis behind it. And of course, you're going to have to go do your own research, your own due diligence, and you got to pick what's right for you. But there are a lot of opportunities here in Ghana. And one of the ones I wanted to start talking about first was the opportunity to create mutual funds and portfolio management services. All right. The Ghanaian economy is such that there are not many passive investment vehicles where somebody can put their money into and have steady, relatively reliable growth and especially earn equity in some of these passive vehicles and be able to do it with smaller amounts of capital.
Very true.
And it's one of the things, this ability to, invest in these passive investment vehicles, primarily the stock market, is something that, in America is one of the biggest, if not the number one driver of wealth in America, is investing in the stock market. The Ghanaian stock market isn't robust enough. There's not enough volume. There's not enough activity going on there for you.
I
to
think
really
education-wise, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's not enough companies that are listed. There's not enough interest in it. The volume, the amount of trade and energy going into it is not enough to really be vibrant enough to give you a good investment opportunity frequently.
Okay.
Maybe here and there you'll get something, but I think a big opportunity is getting access to the U.S. stock market.
That's the thing.
And getting to own a piece of U.S. companies.
That's the thing.
I think there's one company that's in it, RiseVest.
Yes.
And I think there's a company here in Ghana, Ladder, that connects to RiseVest.
I know, right?
Gives you an opportunity.
I know.
Just because they're doing it, it doesn't mean that it's enough. They haven't done everything. They haven't thought of everything. There's a lot of things that I think they've overlooked. They're still young. And I think that this is a great opportunity because, look, if you can take your extra 300 or 400 cities every month and put it into a mutual fund and have that mutual fund grow, even 1 or 2% every single month. And remember, it compounds and compounds, and you keep putting that money in.
Exactly.
Over many years, you will be very surprised. I did it with you, for example.
Yeah.
You gave me, an amount that would be, let's say, around $80, $85 in 1,000 cities. We put that money into a mutual fund. I think within about 4 months, you had made more than 10% on your money.
Yes.
Right?
Which I was really impressed.
Plus, aside from the appreciation of the stocks, you also benefited from avoiding the depreciation of the city.
Yes.
On that money.
So
that
I mean,
another.
exactly. So that's another thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So just on the appreciation of stocks, you made about 11%. But then when you add the depreciation of the city, you made about 25%.
Yes.
In that 4 months.
Yes.
So in a year, maybe you would have made about 75%.
And that's crazy.
So that means your 1,000 cities, you can 1,000. And were you working for it? Now, let's say you put 1,000 cities every month. Every month you were doing that. Every month you're doing that. Every 4 months you're making that 25%. Listen, little by little, you build wealth.
I mean, I remember when you introduced that idea and you came and you spoke about that, and I remember when I went back home, I was like, this is something that it will be so essential for Ghanaians because we really have a trust issue when it comes to the financial sector. Putting our monies in, some of these. Because if I'm to remember, the most popular mutual fund that got a lot of Ghanaians interested back then was DataBank. When DataBank came into the scene, a lot of people invested into that. But unfortunately, due to some of, the men's gold, Wahala, all of these things, a lot of people really find it hard to really trust the financial system, especially in Ghana. So when I came to that realization that, okay, there's a possibility to have access to a market that is very reliable. That is very reliable. And again, it's also, investing in a currency that is consistently appreciating, especially in comparison with the city, So it's such a way that it made powerful sense because you're assured of your consistent revenue. So it's key, and it's one of the things that a lot of people don't know that it's not just, complete housing is a scope of one of the things that we do, but it opened doors to actually for us to pay attention to, the financial sector, to the employment sector and all of that. So, of course, the introduction of AfriCap, coming in and realizing that, okay, this could even combine with complete housing in relation to helping so many people even afford these homes with the compounding bit, because definitely you put these monies into some of these mutual funds. These monies can naturally compound. You give yourself a number of years, it can naturally compound for you to easily own a house. So it's something that people need to pay attention to. I give props to Mame Kwam. Definitely would like to have her on the show. The woman one of the co-founders of Ladder. Rice Vest. Totally amazing because it's needed. It's so key. Yeah. People need to have access to a market that would give them steady income. Yeah. And especially in relation to, as you said, if you can invest in some 300, some 400 cities and be consistently making this money. Hey, Kujo, you're definitely touching lives. You are touching lives. And no it's something that, Africa is definitely on. And I'm excited about it in collaboration with even, Complete Housing as to how much we can help people, own these homes easily.
Instead of worrying about buying the next iPhone, but why not buy some shares of Apple so that when people buy the iPhone, they're paying you. You understand?
Wow.
Instead of you worrying about buying the next iPhone, or buying another pair of Nikes if you don't own shares of Nike. Look, the companies that you see all around you, most of them are really big companies that are pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to own some shares of Microsoft, Apple, Nike, Google?
Easily.
Google, man. Google is a lovely stock to own.
I know.
When people Google, I get paid.
Wow.
Think about it that way. When people Google, I get richer.
It's crazy.
Wouldn't you want that?
It's crazy, but I think a lot of education needs to be on this, but it's just that the whole cryptocurrency was something that really popular. It was much more popular. But if you recognize how long the stock market has been in existence and how consistent most of these businesses have been, on the stock market, it should tell us that it's a place where we need to invest in. And, again, it comes back to the influx of diasporans coming in to give such an opportunity, because we didn't know this. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do trading and all of that, but to be able to now get some people coming in that they can open the door for Africans to invest in U.S. markets and U.S. mutual funds, Kojo. I mean,
but it requires partnership with people in Ghana who can understand the opportunity and understand the psychology, the cultural differences of Ghanaians and how they think about investing and how to reach them with that education. I think one thing I'm going to be trying to do is do some educational series on personal finance, on stock investing.
That's good.
I'm even, I might do a course on how to trade stock options for income. I might even try to show you a course about how you, as a Ghanaian, can own an LLC in the United States and use that LLC
that's beautiful.
A brokerage account in
that's beautiful,
States,
bro.
Open bank accounts in the United States,
and
have access to everything in the United States. Remember, I'll teach you one thing right now. In America, a corporation is a person. So you can become a person in the U.S. without being a citizen. But, speaking about investing, one of the things that's going to help you invest is if you increase your salary. We talked the other episode with Mr. Samuels. We spoke about some of the low salaries and how it's causing some, ethical issues and issues with customer service and that. Now, the world isn't confined to just your geographic location.
Okay. Yeah.
Once you start to expand and say, how can I earn in euros, pounds, dollars, Swiss francs, what have you, all of a sudden, your opportunities start to open up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about is outsourcing, freelancing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Learning skills that you can leverage remotely, whether it's writing, whether it's software development, it could be website design, graphic design. There are people who get paid to just speak into a microphone. That's called voice actors.
Are you serious?
Right? You can be a remote voice
actor.
Man,
then I need to jump on that, man.
Right? You can be, maybe you don't have any specific skill, but you're relatively reliable. You know how to type, you know how to spell, you know how to use a computer. Hey, you can be a virtual assistant. Look at it like this. You can be a virtual assistant for $5 an hour. $5 an hour, let's say you work 8 hours a day, that's $40. $40 is roughly how many cities?
40 times 15. I mean, that's basically like $650.
Yeah, almost like 600. Okay.
$650
so let's say if you do that let's say 600. 5 days a week. 5 times 6, that's 3,000 cities a week, right? This is $5 an hour. So that's 3,000 cities in a week, huh? Okay, in a month, in your month's salary now, it's 12,000. Now, that's the lower level of virtual assistants. There's some virtual assistant that you pay $8 an hour, $10 an hour as you get more experience. So if you're making $10 an hour, now that's 24,000 cities in a month. Now, ask yourself, is it worth your while to be stressing to look for a job that will pay you 800 cities, 1,000 cities, 1,500 a month, even 2,500 a month, when you could go and get a job as a virtual assistant?
Kujo, I mean, this is why you realize that we took an interest in relation to setting up, tech placement, because, of course, one of the things that naturally caused us to even pay attention to tech placement is when we realized that, okay, I mean, even with complete housing's affordable unit, which was about $15,000, we realized not a lot of Ghanaians could actually afford it. So we realized that income is a big issue. This is why development is so key. This is why, free consultation, this is what we get to talk about, to really let people understand the mindset in which we move. So it's such a way that we realize that, okay, what can we do? I mean, and tech placements really came into the scene, like what you just said. This is being able to give a lot of Ghanaians the opportunity to work remotely and better their source of income, which eventually would better the economy. And it's one of the opportunities that people really need to pay attention because of the world we live in right now. People really need to, I mean, especially for parents out there, I would naturally urge your kids to really let them pay attention to IT courses, because the world is naturally in that era right now, and anybody and everybody that, be very, very knowledgeable, especially when it comes to the IT world, and make sure that, hey, pay attention to it, because there are so many opportunities out there. You remember Mr. Arrow naturally is making a lot of money out of that. So it's so key, and I'm excited with tech placement, man. Tell me more about tech placement, and one of the things that instigated that idea, bro.
At least know how to use a computer. You don't have to necessarily become an IT master of any necessary skill, but to be honest, any skill that you master, you're going to get paid more. I've talked about a virtual assistant for $5 an hour, but if you're a software developer, even a junior, and you want to start out at $15 an hour, nobody's going to say you're asking for too much money. Quite frankly, if you compare it, why does this opportunity exist for Ghanaians so much so? Because $5 an hour is actually illegal to pay somebody that in the United States.
That's crazy.
The United States minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, but you see the United States cost of living is so much higher.
Exactly.
Yes, of course. Even $7.25 an hour is not enough.
Exactly.
But if you're in Ghana making $5 an hour,
man,
and you're making 12,000 cities a month, that's enough.
Oh yeah, that is.
For almost everywhere in Ghana, even in Accra,
yes,
that
is
enough.
That's
actually good. That's just $5. Now, if you're making $15 an hour as a software developer and you're making 36,000 CDs a month, now combine that with the mutual fund, because now you have extra money.
That's the thing.
Okay, 36,000. You say, I only need 10. Put the other 16,000 into a mutual fund. Let it grow at those rates with the appreciation of the dollar plus the stocks. Look, man, I'm telling you, there's a way to get out of the trap.
I'm telling you, and this is one of the things that it gets me excited with, how we are and how we were able to fuse all of this in relation to that same employment level. That same 36,000 could easily get you a complete house and affordable unit and take care of shelter. So
monthly payments,
exactly,
zero interest.
Exactly.
So now you can be putting money into a mutual fund, paying off a house, and getting a house. You start renting it.
Exactly, and making some.
Which moves us into the next thing that we were going to talk about very smoothly. Into the next thing that we're going to talk about, which is real estate. Real estate is an opportunity, but a lot of people are too much focused on luxury. Man. Too many luxury apartments going on. But you came up with something very interesting. I'll let you say it in Twi, because you are an Ashanti man, so I'll let you say the Twi. I'll let you say it properly in Twi.
Again, as I said, due to our mindsets and how much, we are very, one of the things I thank God personally for is being able to have the opportunity to meet you, because it's not easy to meet people who are passionate about development. And Kujo, you've had the opportunity to know me for some time, and you know how passionate I am when it comes to development. And it's the thing that really instigated this idea, because it's being able to touch lives. It's being able to impact and help so many people get access to, some better shelter units. And that's one of the things that naturally instigated the creation of Complete Housing. So, people who definitely know me know that creativity when it comes to certain things and making good use of the little resources to create something, it's something that naturally I get excited about. So when I got this idea, which is Adwenpa deal. Now, Adwenpa when you actually translate it to English, it means having a good mind. You have a good mind. And that, Complete Housing, our mentality has always been about ways to touch lives. So we come from an angle with a good mind. It's one of the things that triggers us to come up with certain ideas like the flex payment plan, the zero interest rates, the rent to own, all of these things. And a Adwenpa deal is such a way that, first of all, we've been able to create a home, a 1-bedroom unit, which is less than $10,000. So it's almost about $9,000. Not just that, one of the things that we're looking at doing is people don't need to pay upfront. You don't need to pay upfront. you know, you don't need to pay upfront. It's for a period of about 6 to 24 months. You get to, you actually get to own the unit and, you know, live in it. And as you're using it, you're paying it, which I find it to be which is quite exciting because it's such a way that not a lot of people are thinking about it from this angle to allow people to really get to use these homes. And I would even urge you to even talk much more about the opportunity involved with the Adwenpa deal and how people can actually use this to make money and get to own the unit. I mean, highlight much more about that.
Yeah, so let's do the math, right? Okay, let's say over 24 months, you need to pay off $9,000. Okay, that's $375 a month.
Okay.
Let's say you rent out the unit for $30 a night. Okay, 15 nights. That's saying that means you're only getting bookings half the time.
Okay.
15 nights a month, right? That's $450 a month. You only needed to pay $375. So the rest, the difference can be, you know, some of your upkeep, your maintenance costs. Maybe you even put a little bit in your pocket. After 2 months, you own the unit.
After 2 years, yeah. After 2 years, you actually get to own the unit.
After 2 years, sorry. So you get the unit, you put a down payment, you rent it out for 2 years. That rent you use to pay off the unit. After that 2 years, you paid it off, paid off complete housing
without you using your own money,
and that's it, right? Maybe a small down payment at the beginning, right? But then you own the unit after that 2 years, and that's all cash flow.
Wow!
And it's not like we're gonna say no, you can't do it again. Okay, you say, yeah, you can do it again.
And again,
you come do it again.
And again,
we'll do it again.
And again, the amazing thing is some of the monies that you can actually make off. You can even, you know, get in touch with us. We can put in the mutual funds.
It's circular. It's what this is it's a circular opportunity. Increase your salary. Invest cash into mutual funds. Invest cash into real estate. That's diversification. You have your investments going here in Ghana. You have your investments going in the United States. One goes bad, the other one can support you. You see what I'm saying? That's what I do. So what I'm offering is things that I've already looked into. You know, I wouldn't advertise a business opportunity that I haven't researched myself. And just to give you an example of how big this tech outsourcing idea is. If you haven't heard of Int'l, they're a Nigerian company primarily that does outsourcing mostly for software developers. They are now valued at $1.5 billion. And the Nigerian company started by Nigerians. They've raised $400 million.
Can you repeat that?
They are now worth $1.5 billion. Okay? And this is a Nigerian company started by Nigerians. They've raised $400 million. Mostly from U.S. investors. That's how big this tech outsourcing opportunity is. Because listen, people don't want to outsource to China, tech. Okay. Number two, Ghanaians, you speak English.
Very good.
English is the #1 global language. You have a big advantage there. You have to have a global perspective as an English speaker. You have a lot of access as an English speaker. You have access that a lot of maybe your French-speaking counterparts don't have because English is more global. English is the lingua franca of the world now. Okay, that's number two. Number three, you have a low cost of living, right? So you can take that $12 an hour is huge money, good money for Ghana.
It's crazy. Right? I mean, you and I know that India actually benefited greatly.
Right. You see, Indian outsourcing is starting to get a little bit more expensive, right? Sometimes people are not liking some of the product they get out of India. I'm telling you, there's a big opportunity. If you do good work and you work hard and you work, I mean, look, so you tell me $7 an hour for a virtual assistant. You know how many some American companies can hire about 100 of you. One company can easily hire about 100 of you to do remote work, customer service, because you speak English. So you can do customer service, you can do remote work, you can do transcriptions, you can do voice acting. There's a lot of different things that you can do. Anything that you can do on a computer that is of use to any company is something that you can do as a freelancer or an outsourced worker. There's a big opportunity. Really look into it. I mean, there's platforms like Upwork.com, Freelancer.com, Fiverr.com.
Fiverr, exactly.
You can start there. I'm not going to say that is easy. I'm not going to say there's not going to be competition. There's going to be competition. But I'm telling you, I know freelancers that make $200,000 a year just writing blog articles. Let me just leave it there. If that sounds good to you.
That's why again, you know, it's very important, and it's very dear to our hearts in relation to tech placement. Tech placement, when did we get that idea? It was 2021 or 2022?
I thought about it when I first came here, and I saw that, you know, unemployment
and you started,
was quite high.
Exactly.
And you know, I started working on it. I didn't get the opportunity to continue it because to be quite frank, is you know,
we have a lot.
there's a lot going on, and I would love to have somebody that would just take it up and be the CEO.
That's the thing.
The entrepreneur.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Such a big opportunity.
That's the thing.
I don't need to own 100% of that. You want to bring me as an advisor and leverage my experience in tech and all of that and business, whatever, 5% advisory shares, I'm fine with. I don't need to own 100%. That's why we're here giving you stuff for free. This idea of owning 100%, it's overrated.
Definitely. I mean, and it's one of the things where, you know, I really hope a lot of Ghanaians or a lot of Africans who are actually watching this would really pay attention to and be ready to, because two is always better than one, an honest truth. Two is always better than one. I had the opportunity to start a small business, and I recognized we were 3 partners at some point in time, and it was much more effective. You know, it was much more effective. You know, my old friends sometimes come to me and be like, Kweku, why you always looking, you know, for partners to do stuff with? And you said something. It's accountability and scrutiny. When it's just you do it according to how you want to do it. And if you lose motivation, that's it. I get up and go to work every single time because I know I have a partner. And it's such a way that partner expects results. So it's such a way that level of accountability that is upon me compels me to get up every single time, to show up at work, to make sure that, look, investors are on your neck. You need to perform, because it has a way of bringing out the best within you to really work. If it's just you, when you're tired and you're not getting the needed results, you will give up. That's the honest truth. You will lose that sense of motivation. But when you have people on your neck, people who are expectant of your delivery, you don't have a choice. And that's something that we need to propel us to be so hungry for development. It's very key, man. I mean, hey, so the real estate, definitely watch out for that Adwenpa deal from Complete House. And what other opportunities in real estate do you feel like it's something that could really help people out there, especially, you know, opportunities in Ghana?
Yeah, one thing that we do, Complete Housing in conjunction with AfriCap, is we do real estate syndication. And I think real estate syndication is an interesting concept, especially for somebody that wants to get into real estate but doesn't have a lot of money. Real estate syndication is the art of making a deal.
Okay.
It's the art of bringing together the landowner, the developers, and the investors. Okay? If you know how to bring people together to make a deal, a real estate syndicator can get anywhere from 5% to 20% equity or finder's fees on a deal. So let's say you do a real estate syndication for a building that's $1 million building. You help raise the $1 million. You can take maybe a 5-10% upfront. I mean, look, if you do a deal like that and you do get your finder's fee $50,000, right? See, that might change somebody's life. A $50,000 USD can change somebody's life.
It could change my life, man.
Right? And you don't have to build the property. You don't have to put up your own money. You don't have to own the land. You just have to be somebody who is creative enough to know how to bring people together, study a little bit about how real estate syndication works. Hey, you know, maybe that's another workshop that we'll do. the art of syndication of real estate. We have some syndications that we're working on currently right now that we know, hopefully, God willingly, you know, you're going to see some nice big complete housing structures erected here soon.
I mean, it's as you said, it's something where even I would even encourage people who are out there who are looking for this kind of opportunity, especially with the syndication deal, because again, I always say two is better than one. You can probably have the land, you know, you probably need somebody to come develop it. You know, you don't need to do everything. You don't honestly need to do everything, because with the syndication, it helps you get faster. And sometimes, even if you own 0.05 or 1%, the kind of dividends that is coming in,
exactly.
It's something where if we're to understand the necessity of coming together and collaborating, Kujo, we will achieve so much. There's so many people that, you know, and hey, it's just like one of the great things, of course, Africa in collaboration with Complete Housing coming in, you know, there are so many things that it's not even just with the 1-bedroom units, it's with the office setups and everything. I mean, hey, it's going to be very beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, we got more to bring you. This is just the beginning. We have so many more things to touch on. We're going to have some workshops coming up. We thank you for being with us again on this episode of Free Consultation.